All right, everybody, welcome back to the Warrior Mindset and Motivation Podcast. I am your host, retired Army Sergeant First Class Eric Castillo, and also life coach at Zimi Wellness Center in Indigenous Sovereignty. Today, guest on the show, pretty cool dude's got an interesting background. He went from Air Force to Marines, which is still I want to hear that because I haven't even heard it yet. So I always
Yep.
like to when I get people to come on, I look at the bios, but I don't really read them because I want first reactions for people to see, just like if they're hearing it. So I do that. His name is John Martin-Vegue, French. I said it right, I think. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet. But
Yep.
he tried to say it, oh, Martin-Vegue. No, I'm trying to say it right because I like to get people's names right. But yeah, he's got a pretty extensive background. He does a lot of things. Pretty cool Instagram picture. He's a super gun guy. He's got a whole bunch of pictures of doing gun stuff, which is super cool. So John, go ahead and give everybody a little bit of background intro about you.
Super excited to be here today. Thanks so much for asking me to be on here. Um, I mean, where do you want to start? Basically, that's the big question.
Start from um, what made you decide to go to the Air Force first? Like
Okay.
what? Because I know for
Yep.
me,
Yep.
I was like I joined the military when I was in high school. I was 17, but I was
Yeah.
back and forth between all the branches. Like for a while, I wanted the Air Force, and then I wanted the Navy, then I wanted the Army, and then I was like,
Yep.
oh, the Marines, and then I went back to the Air Force. I was all over the place. And the
Yeah.
only reason I
Yeah.
chose the Army was because the Army was the only branch that can guarantee me an exact job. Like
Yep.
the exact job, where all the other ones they'd put me in the field. Like, oh, you'll be infantry, but we don't know what you're gonna do till you finish AIT. And I didn't like that. I was like, well, hold on, like,
Yep.
and
Exactly.
then that could even change. Like you could be infantry and then switch over to like something else,
Oh
So
God.
it's like it wasn't
Yeah. Yeah.
solidified. So with the
Exactly.
Army, I was like, okay, Army got me, cool. At least I can know what the hell I'm doing, you know, and
Yep.
and do that. So start with what made you choose the Air
Okay.
Force first.
I would say I've always been a big like aviation guy. I grew up I don't know, just loving airplanes. Went to a air show when I was like 9 years old, saw the F-16 flying around, and I was like, oh, that's what I want to fly when I grow up. And when I was 16, 17, I started working on my private pilot's license. Um, and I'd always kind of been interested in the Marine Corps as well, but due to my upbringing and kind of my environment, the more combat-oriented stuff was not really an option that my parents really wanted me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And which, I mean, we could get into the environment later. It was not a very good environment. It was very controlling and very bad. But so I'd say maybe my last year of high school, that was kind of when I was like, hey, I want to go into the military. I got to get out of this, house. But military is a great option. And I've always wanted to fly. I'm working on my pilot's license. That's what I want to do. I'll go be an F-16 fighter pilot, be an awesome, pilot and have fun with that. So I started looking into the options, and the most direct route to the F-16 was the Air National Guard. So the 144th Fighter Wing in California was kind of the option I was looking at. Obviously, to fly, you got to be an officer. So I started college. Pretty much fought my parents to start college, and reluctantly I did to them. But I started at the community college, and then as soon as I was eligible to enlist, I opted to enlist because I kind of had to get out of the house. So I was like, well, Air National Guard, here we go. I'll enlist. I enlisted in February of 2008, and then shipped off to boot camp at Lackland Air Force Base from that moment. I would say that would be my biggest mistake when it came to becoming an F-16 fighter pilot, was enlisting instead of just going straight through college and then becoming an officer. Because due to my upbringing, living by myself, I kind of let loose a little bit, started failing a few college classes. So the officer thing didn't quite work out. But that was the whole initial thing of joining the Air Force, F-16 fighter pilot. And obviously I chose to be a crew chief on the F-16 just to get as close as I could, be familiar with the aircraft. And that was such an amazing job, honestly. I really enjoyed it, being an aircraft mechanic. I started out on the line first. For I'd say my first 2 years, being a line mechanic out there launching and recovering aircraft, doing basic maintenance. And then I moved up, got promoted, went to phase maintenance, then was a swing shift supervisor in swing phase, which was really awesome. That's where I really got to know the ins and outs of the aircraft, taking it all apart every, 300 hours, I think it was. We take it all apart, pretty much replace everything, and then put it all back together and put it back out on the line. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it was cool. Definitely an awesome job. Yeah. So, I mean, there's the Air Force one for you. We'll get into that later. We can talk about the differences, but we can talk about the differences between Marine Corps and Air Force a little bit. As far as transferring to the Marine Corps, I think that's where we want to kind of focus on, is why I made the switch. So, during my time in the Air Force, I was full time in the Air National Guard. So that's where I was at. I was living out in Fresno, California. And I went from an extremely, extremely oppressive, controlled environment at home to now being on my own completely. My parents shunned me, kind of pushed me out of the family, disowned me. And at that moment, I kind of said, well, fuck it. I'm going to do whatever I want. I was still going to college at the time, but I didn't really focus on my classes, and I failed. I think it was two business classes. I was getting an aviation administration degree through Embry-Riddle. And I just didn't focus on it. I was partying a little too much and failed a couple classes. I was like, well, they're not going to pick me as an F-16 fighter pilot if I got a fail on my transcript. So that's not going to happen. So I was a little sad, a little depressed, but was pushing through the maintenance deal. And then I remember one day I was just driving home from work and I saw the Marine Corps recruiter, and I was like, I'm not going to be a fighter pilot. Why can't I go fight? Like, I've always wanted to be in combat. Why not just go fight and enlist in the Marine Corps? Like, I'm sure I could do it. I'm almost out of the Air Force. So I literally stopped by the Marine Corps recruiter that day. I was in my uniform and everything. And I remember walking in and he's like, what the hell are you doing here? And I told him, I was like, well, I think it'd be awesome to join the Marine Corps. I'm an aircraft mechanic, but I really want to fight. I want to be in combat, just see what it's like being there. And he was like, well, right now, you're pretty lucky because we're allowing inter-service transfers. We're trying to, still up our numbers in the Marine Corps, so we can work on that and make it happen. So he literally gave me the paperwork right there, and I was stoked. I walked out. Next morning, I went to my he wasn't a major, he was colonel. That's right, he was a colonel. So I went to my colonel in the maintenance officer. I was like, sir, I'd like to transfer to the Marine Corps. And he leaned back his chair and laughed. He's like, nope, you gave us 6 years. I'm not letting you out. And I just stood there and looked at him, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna sign any papers. I'm not gonna do anything. You still got 2 more. Well, at the time it was about 3. He's like, you still got 3 more years. I'm not gonna let you out. Get back out there and get to work. It's like, what? Are you serious? So I was pretty sad. But I went and told the recruiter, I was like, I'm dedicated to doing this. I'm going to make it happen. So I'm going to, keep going and keep asking, and maybe one day he'll give in. So I don't know, about 6 months went by and he got relieved. We got a new maintenance commander. First day in his office, I went up there. I was like, sir, I'd like to transfer to the Marine Corps. And he sat back in his chair and he's like, that's really awesome, man. I like that. I like the ambition. What do you want to do? So, well, sir, I know I want to be infantry, but I think it'd be awesome to try out for recon as well. And he was like, I love this, man. Yeah, let's make this happen. So,
oh, wow.
I was like, wow, awesome, great. So actually, we started the paperwork right then. And I had to get a lot of guys to sign off on it, a lot of the chain of command. So it actually took me maybe about another 4 to 6 months to actually do the complete intro transfer. And then the final signature that I had to get was the base commander, and it was the former commander that said no. So I remember I walked into his office and walked up to his desk, saluted and everything. I was like, sir, I'm transferring to the Marine Corps. I'd like you to sign off on it. Everyone else has, and I'd be honored if you would too. And he looks at me and he says, you're still trying to do this? I said, yes, sir, I am. He's like, well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to be infantry, and I really want to try out for recon. It's like, well, I guess if everyone signed off on it, you're not really mine anymore, so I'll just sign off on it too.
Wow.
So I got that signature and took it to the recruiter that day, and then he set up a time for MEPS. So
Nice.
yeah, so that was kind of the process. It was a long process. It was pretty grueling though, just because the ups and downs, not knowing if it would happen, and then finally making it happen. But I PT'd as much as I could with the poolies, and tried to stay motivated and do everything I could with the recruiters and help them out. And they really liked me, and I was an E4 at the time, so I was able to hang out. We'd always go out to eat, and they'd keep me motivated.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
So then, as I was looking at your bio, I know that you went to it was Afghanistan in 2013.
Yes. So
I was there also.
Wait, what? Yes. Where were you at? Awesome.
I was in RC South in Kandahar doing private security detail for NATO.
Nice. Yes.
Commanders and generals, and also providing security for the president of Afghanistan.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Oh, dude, that is so cool. Awesome. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy we were there at the same time.
Yeah, where were you?
So I was in Sangin Valley, Helmand Provence.
The hot zone.
Yeah, that's what I like. That's what everyone likes to say, but it was definitely the time of my life. It was something I really wanted. I always tell everyone I never joined for any bigger reason. I never joined for like a big picture. It was always just, I know it sounds conceited, but it was for myself. I really wanted to test myself and see what my limits were and what I could handle, and that's why I really wanted to be infantry, and that's why I went. And I really had a lot of awesome leaders that I learned from. I would say that was the best part about it all, was just those awesome guys that I got to be with and serve from and learn from, that I use a lot of their leadership techniques today in my current job. So
right. And it's incredible like who you come in contact with, because there's you got your bad, you got your leaders who aren't so great. You look at them and you're like, how the hell are you this rank? What the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
And then on the flip side, you're like, where the hell have you been?
Right?
Whatever time, like,
where have you been? I would shoot that guy in the back, give him the chance. I will follow you into fire.
Like that happened. Like when I was in Germany, I literally thought that the devil handpicked the entire command, because it was hell for like a year and a half. It was hell, and you're just like, what the hell is going on? And then me being a staff sergeant, so I was a section chief, squad leader, trying to at least deflect as much bullshit as I can, but I can't do much. And then our platoon sergeant tried, but everyone above him was just not good. And then it's like when they all left, and then a whole new command came in, you're like, the hell were you guys at?
It's about time you show up.
Yeah, it's about time we get some good leaders here, like people who actually give a crap, So and then you learn stuff, but I always say, and people kind of throws them back too, when it comes to bad leaders, they're actually really good, because if you look at it right, they teach you how not to be.
Exactly.
Because when you
know what it's like.
You don't want to do what they do.
That's right.
And then you have two courses. You can either become them, or you can not do what they do and be a better example. That's what I tried to do. When I made E7, I tried to do that, because I had some pretty bad ones and I had some pretty good ones. So and I took those and just combined my own.
Exactly.
So for you, so during your time in Afghanistan, did you experience anything? Was there just some trials? Was there some just like any type of situation?
Honestly, every day there was so much going on. So me specifically, when I arrived, I was in 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines. That's where I was assigned after infantry school and all the recon stuff. I didn't make it through recon school. We can talk about that a little bit later. But as soon as I got to the unit, so the guys, they were like, "Oh, you're smart. You were from the Air Force. Oh wow, yeah, we need you as the radio operator." So the moment I got to my infantry unit, I was handed the radio, and I was forced to learn all the radio operations. And man, for that whole entire 7-month workup and the whole time in Afghanistan, I was the committed radio operator. And not gonna lie, I was a damn good one. And I actually did get what do you call it? I got recognized for it. I forget. I have it in my room, but yeah,
You
I got
award?
recognized for yes, not an award, but an actual like paper award for it and whole ceremony thing. And yeah. But it was really awesome experience just being able to be that radio operator. I was sought after, and I would get to go out on specific patrols just because they needed a good radio operator, and that was really awesome to be able to do all that. And I had a little more freedom than some of the other guys just because I was taking care of so many. I think it was about 22 radios signed out in my name. And we were only on a little tiny fob. We were in Sabit Kadam or Fob Jackson. British call it Fob Jackson. We call it Sabit Kadam. It was only our company out there, but I was I had that many radios signed out to me, and I was always changing the crypto, making sure we always had the proper frequencies of the air and everyone else going around, tanks and whatnot, whatever was happening in our AO. I was making sure we could contact everybody and talk to everybody. It was definitely a good job for me because it kept me busy a lot.
Yeah.
But, I got to go out a lot with everybody, and it was. I hated it at the beginning, but being a radio operator turned out to be a blessing in the end. So.
Well, yeah, they're a pivotal guy because I would make sure that my radio guy, when I had my radio next to me, if I didn't have one on me or if I had mine and someone else, I made sure it was someone who can talk clearly, someone who was somewhat intelligent, that way they can articulate, what I'm saying. Like, especially if I'm cussing or you tell that motherfucker on the radio, and then they'll tone that down and be like, sir, he said that he's busy and he will be right with you.
And then also too, like having to understand the bigger picture and keeping track of where everyone was in the movement and everything, and just understanding the battlefield and what's going on. Because you're the main operator, you got to understand and then relay that information back to command and control.
And then you can't leave nothing out too, like, and you can't like add your own spin to it. Like, if it's like, hey, I want you to say this, you need to say that because it's like that. It's like that game, where you do communication, you tell people secret all the way down, and then by the time it gets to the end, it's a completely different story. That won't work in Afghanistan. It'll go from okay, we have two bad guys to we have 30 bad guys in tanks. It's like, no, we don't have that many. Like.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So it was definitely a good time. My son was born while I was over there. Actually, he was born 2 weeks after I left, and we were out at a position, and they sent a patrol to get me. So that way, they gave me a good about 24 hours that I was able to Zoom and be there for the birth. So that was awesome. But didn't meet him until I came back, and he was 7 months old, almost 8 months old. Yeah, so it was pretty crazy coming back to like. I left, and me and my wife weren't. She had lived in Northern California. She was going to college. I was in 29 Palms, so I don't see her on weekends. And then when I left, so we weren't living together. I left. I come back. We're living together. I have a son. So it was a crazy time, man.
Jeez.
Well, a lot of change.
Glad everything panned out and it worked out pretty good. She's still there, and that's it shows her how she her dedication, and I thank her for that. Because having a good partner in that type of work, you need it.
That's for sure. Yeah.
So
I know that pillar to lean on.
Yeah, especially, and I know that's a crucial thing, especially nowadays with what's going on and things, divorce rate in the military is super high,
Oh yeah, it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just, and that's a whole nother thing too, to talk about on why it is. And my fiance, she knows all about that stuff and what the hows and the whys, and, she like specializes in that stuff and how to help. So, but yeah, she does her own podcast and things with that one. So
that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, and we actually do our own podcast. We have one that we talk about how she helps me out with my stuff and how I help her with her stuff. So, just straight couch talk podcast. So we do that one, kind of like her side, my side, how we met, and what she does for me when I get all in a certain headspace up here, what she does for me, and then flip side, what I do for her. So it's pretty good, man.
Awesome.
It's important to have someone like that in your life,
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
So as we move to the next thing here, and this is like what I call the meat and potatoes of what I do is the transition. Um,
Okay.
for me, I know you had a hard upbringing. I know my transition was hard. It was actually very, very hard. A lot of things happened. And for those who don't know, I'll say really quick. I was in a toxic marriage that is over. Towards the end of that, I was arrested, dismissed of charges, but was arrested for domestic violence. Almost attempted suicide twice during that time, and yeah, it was a pretty dark time. It just seemed like everything came crashing down, and it took a long time to get back on track. And that's how this started. Is just to show that, like, and I don't compare, but like, no matter how dark in a spot you're in, you can always come out of it, but you have to get out of it. Everyone can extend a hand to you, and if you have a lot of hands, you only got two, so pick two hands, or you pick one that's the strongest that can help you, but you have to put the effort to get out of it. And that's what I had to do. I was sitting there like just kind of like, what the heck, and like I always use the example of I was falling down a pit and I hit the bottom, and then just as I thought I hit the bottom, I went to roll over to get up and I freaking fell farther down in the hole. And I was like, what the hell? I thought I hit the bottom, and then I finally hit the bottom, and then I was like, well, I guess this is it. Now there's a choice to make. And now it's to climb back up. I saw the light up there, and I was like, "Oh, there it is," and I started going back up. So that's kind of how this started, along with the help of the missus, who said that it would be a good idea to start this whole platform, and that's how I got to meet all the people I've come on here, like you and Jessica Lynch and Rapper Soldier Hard and all the other people. My best friend came on here. Yeah, so it's like I get to meet everybody every week, and it's awesome and it's nice. So for you, how was your transition, man? Like, was it hard? Was it smooth? Like, cause some are smooth. I've had people who were smooth, and then I've had people who were worse than mine. And I gauge everyone off of mine. So like, I don't compare, but I go, oh man, they had it way worse than I did. That's kind of how I base it. Like, and some were like, no, mine is good. And I know a guy, he had like 5 deployments, no nothing, smooth transition. I'm like, bitch, like, what the fuck? Like,
come on, man.
Yeah, like, good for you, but fuck you, like.
Yeah, totally. Oh man, I would say mine was just full of ups and downs. Honestly, there were moments where I thought, oh, I got this. This is good, and then there were times where I lost, so lost. Not understanding what to do, what's going on, and just really not knowing how to push forward. I would say maybe within the last almost year is when it's really felt like it's all finally come together and everything's on the up and up and smooth going. Because I got out back in was it mid 2015, and I was actually medically discharged from the Marine Corps. It was right at the end of my enlistment. My back gave out on me, and I had lower back surgery. My L4, L5, S1 area is just completely fucked. We'll say that. And I just say it's due to me being an extremely tall guy and having to carry all that combat gear all over the place, and just pushing myself every day, and then finally just being done. So when I was medically discharged, I'm so grateful and thankful to the VA and to everyone for being financially stable when I got out. So I didn't have to worry financially. That was, I would say, the most important thing for me, because married with 2 kids, having insurance was the biggest part for me, and that was at the time of when you finally had to start paying for your own insurance, all this different stuff, when back in all that weird insurance stuff was coming out, and we pay the ramifications for it nowadays. But so and that was the best part, is I didn't feel like I had to get out there and just immediately start financially supporting everything for our family. But I was completely lost. I had no direction, didn't know what to do. All I'd known was the Air Force and the Marine Corps, and that is literally what shaped me, made me into the person who I am. And I couldn't stay in any longer, and I was really, really, upset and extremely sad about that, because that's, when you're in, and that's what shapes you, you belong there. That's where you thrive. Guys like you and I, we thrive in an extremely pressured environment. That's when we do our best. That's when we thrive and just shine. And that's me completely. When I'm being squeezed and pressured, I just outmaneuver everybody and, adapt and overcome. And,
Right.
I was at the point of, I don't know what to do now. So I fell back onto flying. I decided, hey, well, I have my pilot's license. I've always wanted to fly. I enjoy flying. I can, be an airline pilot. So we moved from California, grew up in California, been in California my entire life in 2 branches. The only place I ever went was Afghanistan, so 2 branches, stayed in California. And we moved to Utah because the UVU, Utah Valley University, accepted the whole entire GI Bill for the flight program. So
Nice.
on a whim, we just moved out here, and we're like, well, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I started college immediately, and I fell into a good groove of just, hey, going to college every day, flying, working towards a career. And as I got into it, I hate flying. I am not going to lie. I absolutely hate flying. I have my pilot's license, I have my instrument rating, and I have my old multi-engine rating. And then I was like, I'm done. One more rating would have been a commercial rating, which allows you to get paid to fly, and then you can build the hours to go to an airline. But I was done. I've never joy flown for myself, so really, I've always just been academic flying, and it just took a toll. And I'm used to shooting, moving, and communicating, and not sitting in here looking at gauges. And, you know what I mean? Like, I'm an extremely athletic, active guy. And flying, well, maybe it sounds awesome, it's so extremely mentally exhausting. And I was just sick and tired of every time you turn around, there's some kind of test or oral exam, and it just took a toll on me. And so I started to get really depressed, down. And then I got an awesome job opportunity from a buddy I ran into at the gym. It was for contract security. So this was back in 2016. Contract security, and it paid very well. And I was, hey, I'll jump on this job, keep going to college, still trying to become a pilot. So I jumped on that job, and then the pay was so good that I started to cruise. And this specific job, there's no movement upward at all, ever. It's very rare if you get to go up in the company. So I started to cruise a little bit and think like, hey, we're making good money. I hate flying. I'm just going to stop flying, and I'll continue my degree and just, continue the classes, change over from aviation to business administration of aviation. So that, I would say that was kind of down to a low point again. I was starting to lose direction, didn't know what to do. There was no future. There was nothing. Yeah, I was making enough money, that we could live happily on, but I didn't know what to do. And, it was kind of a down moment there for a little while. And then my wife and I decided to start doing some fitness businesses. Love fitness, and I really enjoy helping people in that area. So then I kind of jumped on the train of, online personal training. We built our online personal training business, and, we did pretty decent and well at that. I would say it never really did good enough where I could quit my other job, but I really enjoyed the people that I helped. And I would say that was the best part of it all. And then I kind of grew out of that. Fitness started to turn into something extremely personal for me, not necessarily something that I really liked offering help for anymore. I kind of, maybe after 2 years of doing it, I just kind of, I don't want to say lost the interest, because I still enjoy helping people, but fitness to me is not like it used to be. I used to be very like breathe heavy. That's all you do. Fitness, count your macros and work harder and try and get bigger. And I'd say that probably burned me out. And it started to turn into, no, we just need to be healthy. We need to be functional, and, go in there, just make it a routine and just make it a part of your life instead of eat, breathe, sleep, fitness, and I would say that has benefited me so much more. But I will say the people that I was able to help, it was so awesome. And that was very satisfying in and of itself. And then still at the time, I went back, I was still at my other job cruising, didn't know what to do. And then I had a buddy tell me, he was like, hey, you have so much, combat training and firearms training. Why don't you get out there and, spread some of that, help some people with that. So I was like, hey, that's a great idea. So I actually went and got my NRIA instructor license, and then kind of formed a few courses of my own. One of my favorite ones was the whole defense course, where I kind of taught people room clearing and kind of how to best move through your house as a single person. You know, team maneuvers are completely different than single maneuvers, and so that was necessary. Mostly what I covered in that course. It was a really good, fun course, and I actually held several of those courses. It was amazing. And then I put together some more fun courses for people to experience more infantry stuff and just get out there, because most people can get out there and shoot, but nobody shoots, moves, and communicates. And so I put these awesome courses together there where people can come out. You know, you never touched a gun before, but we go through all the basics, all the rules, and we let, you know, obviously with, you know, me and another buddy instructing right there next to them, we let people shoot and move, and we had a fire course that people would move through. And it was so much fun. It did so well. And then sadly, after a while, the range that we had shut down. So we no longer have these courses, unfortunately. It was so awesome though, people shooting around cars and shooting at steel targets, and it was more for just the enjoyment of it. Yeah, there were courses where we really went into some awesome like infantry technique and you know, assaulting and stuff like that. But it was just more or less seeing the smiles on people's faces and being able to do awesome things with a gun instead of just standing there and shooting. You know, that was a blessing right there. It was so much fun. So unfortunately right now, I don't have a range that allows any of that. So that's the hardest part. Most ranges don't allow, you know, shooting and moving. So if I can ever find a place or get a place of my own, I'd love to get back at that and even have a shoot house. That range had a shoot house, and it had awesome ranges, cars, you could shoot and move, but no more with that, unfortunately. So hopefully one day,
get yourself a big old property like
dude,
and go build,
I'd
build
love
a shoot
to.
house that you maneuver through. Go build a freaking Middle Eastern freaking shoot house, you know, and then go build another course on the other side, and then just have it all. Have like 20 acres, and then just go.
Yes. Oh man, that's honestly that is on the table for me. So maybe sometime within the next 5 years, hopefully we can have that. It's just so much fun, but at the same time, out here in Utah, everything's so expensive. So trying to find that is the hardest part of that. But it's definitely on the table, and hopefully someday we'll have something like that. Yeah.
Nice. That'd be super cool to have, and that's a good. I mean, I talk about that with my fiance all the time. Is like having just open space. She wants like open land and horses and stuff, and you know, I got to go on a horse a few months ago, and I never been on one. I'm from Los Angeles. There's no horses in LA unless you're like, you know, like no horses over there. Like unless you're riding one in Hollywood and you're sitting in a carriage, you know, like and then even then, in my time in the military, I've got to ride a wild camel instead of riding.
Oh my god! So no horses, man.
So I got to go on a horse, and that was kind of cool. And then, like when she got on it, she just like took off and ran, and I was like, "Whoa, that's cool!" You know, she just took off on a horse. So like we want to do the same thing, like have like our own little range and stuff. You know, so that we don't got to pay fees. You don't got to pay. The only thing you got to buy is really ammo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and right now, ammo is so expensive. So crazy.
They price like that one like no other, man.
Yeah. So, you know, it was kind of sad when that ended, but at the time, I've been working at this contract security job this whole entire time, ever since 2016. And then right when all that, you know, shooting courses stuff kind of came to an end, I actually somehow, some way got promoted within the company. And somehow, some way, and my site commander now. So my job is very secure now. It's very good. I'm pretty much my own boss, and it just allows me to free up my time, and I can spend more time with the family. I actually have more hobbies now, and this specific job gives a lot for my resume for moving up to other very similar managerial type jobs. So now that's why I say now within about the last year, I finally feel like, hey, you know what, I'm on the right track. I finally have gotten it all together since I've gotten out. And now, you know, now you feel like, because our environment at work is very militaristic, very, very, and it's like you feel like you belong there, you thrive there. And so it's a great place.
Well, if you're hiring,
hey, you know, I actually have a spot open. You want to come on? I'll take it. I need to hire one guy.
Hold on. I know she's watching. Babe, you want to move to Utah?
There you go. Very gun friendly.
No, that's awesome, man. Like, that's pretty cool. Looks like, in transition, that's like a big thing, and it takes time, like, and I see the way I see it is like you can never really be done with transitioning.
No.
Oh, she just said to do it. Okay, we don't have to move on.
There you go.
But you're never really done with transitioning. It's like I always like, and the one thing as I looked and I thought, and my thoughts have changed on this, it's like, when you get where you want to be, you're done and you're cool. But like as I learned throughout my own stuff and listening to other people talk, and even more people on a bigger platform when they speak, it's like you're never really done, because when you're done, you're dead. You know,
right?
So like,
can't do anymore.
So if you're at 99%, you stay at 99%, because the moment you get to 100, that means you're done. That means it's time for you to lay to rest. So like, and that's why I always say, you push to the 99%. So that way, and if you're at 99, just stay there. Stay at that 99% and just keep going, because I see people talk about, 120, 130, 140. Well, no, I mean, when you look at a scale goes from, when you look at percentage in general, like phones charge to 100. They don't charge to 101. They charge to 100. Everything goes to 100. So that's kind of like, I don't knock their methods on what they say, but I always just say, hey, push to 99%. And then once you're at that time and reaches 100, then you rest. So like, I know I'm nowhere near 99% right now. I am not even.
Man, I feel
if I had to gauge myself, like honest assessment, and I challenge people to do that, gauge yourself honestly. Like right now, honestly, I'm probably at like 70%, maybe 60. Like, because I'm still learning stuff. I'm still figuring stuff out.
Oh yeah, every day.
So like, I'm still putting things in motion, still kind of working on things. So it's like I'm not even anywhere near that upper percentile yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like how you are. I say like in the 90s area, that's when you're kind of leaning back and you're kind of like, okay, yep, and you become a director, a delegator. You're like, yep, move this way. You okay,
tweak this a little bit.
But it's easy to fall back down though. It is the moment you
easy.
Yeah, and it's, because there's always someone who's training, and there's always someone better than you. You may not come across that person, but there is someone better than you, and you have to be ready to have an encounter with that person. Because that's going to happen. Or you see the people ahead of you, and they're better than you, and they have that same mentality. They're on a big platform, number 1, number 2, number 3. People like you and me, we're coming for those.
That's right.
We're coming.
You can count on that, because we're pushers, man. We go for it. And the other thing I want to add, to go back a little bit, was the getting out as far as the transition goes. I'd say, that was how my outward transition went. I'd say the mental part of the transition is huge, and like you said, it never ends. I would say that's a lot where it's at, is that whole mental part of the transition, because the moment you're in, you belong to something, you're a part of something, and even the rank structure itself. When I got out, I the highest position I'd made to was a squad leader in the infantry, and going from fire team leader, having 4 guys, and then squad leader having 12 guys under you, completely conducting them in combat situations, telling people what to do, being such an oversight, such like high intense environment, and then all of a sudden you go from all of that and you get out, and you're like, dude, what is going on? I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. Nobody looks at me. Nobody cares. Nobody even knows. Like, that's the big thing. Nobody cares. Hey, I was in the Marine Corps. I was in the Air Force. 8 years of service. I was infantry squad leader. Nobody cares. Nobody even understands what that means. So when you get out, you're literally a nobody, when you were the guy that people looked up to and people followed and wanted to aspire to be like, because you're in that squad leader position, and then you get out and it's nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's no reason to get up at 4:00 in the morning anymore. There's no reason to go log running or ruck running anymore, And I would say it's just a huge low, and that's like what you're fighting all the time, is getting back to that high of being in, because that's what made you who you are. And now you're having to, not necessarily redefine yourself, but you're having to find where you fit in, almost.
Yeah. And that's the huge thing that that veterans, I say we as veterans, we try to figure out where we fit in, because like how you said, it's a whole different, it's different. And especially when you make it to certain positions, like I always, like, for a while, like I medically retired also. I did 17 and a half years, and I medically retired. But I was the E7, and at first I was discouraged about like not making E8 and E9, but like the way I see it, like as I look back and I've learned to accept those things and stuff, it's like E6 and E7, at least in the Army, are the most crucial positions when it comes to being a mentor. Like, yes, first sergeants, they mentor, sure, yeah, but they steer away from the line and have to deal more political, same as a sergeant major. That line time is done, and now they're political, dealing with officers and all types of mess. So it's like in our positions, we have direct impact and influence on that service member's life as a whole. And then when you are removed from that, you have no one to your left. And you're like, what? Like, where did everybody go? Who am I supposed to lead? Who am I supposed to train? Like, yes, you got kids and stuff. Yeah, cool. But you can't treat them like that, because they're not going to understand it. They're not going to get it, because they're small, and they're going to be like, what is wrong with you? You're crazy. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard, and you have to do like a lot of soul searching, and some are still trying to find themselves. Some already have, and I think the important part is like doing something that you love doing. I think that's the biggest thing, like if you wake up and going to enjoy doing what you do, I think that's the true thing. And I get it. Sometimes you have to do things because you have to. Like, I'm in that spot. I'm at a job where I have to do it right now to pay child support and alimony. I have to do it. Do I like the place? I don't hate it. I mean, I have a good team, and they're good guys, and they look out for me. And there's a couple veterans. I work at Intel.
Yeah. Oh, nice. There you go.
And their benefits are good, but that's not what I want to do. But and if I didn't have that legal requirement to pay that, then I wouldn't be there. Because like for me right now, my fiance and I, we just started a nonprofit organization for veterans.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so we submitted the paperwork, and in about 3 days or so, everything will come back to us. We have the name. It's Task Force Lighthouse.
Nice.
Yeah, because the way we used it. Yeah, we used the example because I wanted to keep it like a military, and like trying to find the right name. So and I see a lighthouse as like a beacon, where it's like no matter what's going on, what storm, no matter what, that thing never falls. Yeah, exactly. And if you're always lost, look for that light and go there.
Shining the way. Yep.
Right. Yep. So that's what we're doing.
Awesome.
And once that takes off full time, then I'll be doing what I love, and I can step away from the other stuff.
Exactly.
But that takes time, and that's just unless me and her moved to Utah.
Hey, good job out here. Oh man, yeah.
So and I see too, like, you got some pretty cool pictures on your Instagram. If people who are watching haven't seen, he's got some pretty cool action photos, and you got some pretty good modeling pictures with your wife, like some pretty nice ones on there. So if people you want to go check that out, they do some pretty good stuff. And you said your wife, she's a nurse, right?
She's actually in schooling to be a nurse. Yeah, so
schooling.
She's always been dedicated to being a mom for a long time, and kids are getting older now. They're going to school, and she wants a career. So I think nursing. She wants to be a cosmetic nurse. So yeah.
Oh, cool. That's pretty badass. I mean, I know I switched my degree a couple of times. I went to try to be like something like that, just because. Yeah, like I went to a couple of classes. Like I went to like a first aid class that my university had, and I got Red Cross certified. It's just like I read all that stuff came back from like deployment. So like when I did the class, the teacher was teaching stuff, and all by the book, and I was like, he's like, does everyone get that? Does anyone, and I did something a whole different way, and he's like, where'd you learn this? And and it was funny. He's like, I didn't teach this. Where'd you learn it? And I was like, well, you want to know? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I had to treat this exact injury in Afghanistan, and I didn't have all this stuff, and I had to make this happen.
Right.
And he was just like, he was scratching his head like that. Wow. And then he was like, okay, had us make a sling, for someone who had a broken arm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And people were like using the boxes and stuff like things, and then when it was our turn to get the box, there was nothing in there. And the two girls I was with looked at me, and I was like, "Don't worry, I got this." So all there was like a belt in there.
Yeah,
everyone took all the stuff, and everyone had fancy stuff, and I was like, "I got this." I took my sweater off, right, and then I wrapped it around, and I used the sleeve, and I tied it all around, and I made it, and I used the belt to wrap it around. And the teacher, like, he came to ours, and he goes, "What the hell is that?" And I was like, "This is called an improvised sling." He's like, "Let me guess." He's like, "Let me guess. You had to do this in Afghanistan?" I was like, "Actually, Iraq."
Right? Hey, you've done it before.
He's like, okay. He's like, "You know what? You're excused from any types of things we have to do here because you just know what you're doing." And I was like, "I can help teach," So like took the test and stuff. So yeah, I did that at one point because for some reason the stuff just like sticks after a couple times. But I honestly just didn't want to go through the school. It was a lot of school, and I was like, no.
So much. Yeah.
Like that's why when you said your wife was going to be a nurse, I was like, oh, bless her heart, because that's so much school.
It's so much, and she actually already has a degree in. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I just took a brain fart. God. So bad. Oh my God. No, criminal justice. She has a criminal justice degree.
Wow, that's a shift.
14. Yeah. So her goal is to be a lawyer, but then we had the kids, and we didn't make that happen back then. So.
Oh yeah, that's. I actually took one criminal justice class. So I have like classes and like all of those things.
Dude, I'm the same way, man.
Yeah, it's like trying to figure out who the hell I was, like, okay,
I'll do criminal justice. Yeah.
I was like, well, and then as I saw the courses, I was like, I don't like this, then.
Yeah. With me specifically, I actually have 213 credit hours in college, which is more than enough for a doctorate degree. But I changed my major so many times, and I'm literally on my last class to have my bachelor's degree now. But yeah, I changed from, I think it was engineering to business to aviation administration, and just I was like changing and didn't know what to do.
I think it was funny because I know when you told me you were doing aviation business, I was like, wait,
what?
I was like, a degree to not fly? Like, what?
Right? Like, oh my God. Thankfully, it worked out that way with all the flying experience I have. They could count that towards. But So, and the reason why I chose to finally get my degree is because the job I'm in now, when I can apply for those other managerial jobs, I'll have that degree. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So is that your plan? Like, you trying to stay with security, or are you trying to go to like your aviation not flying area?
Yeah. So actually, now that I'm in this position, it's more or less, I would say, if you were to compare it to anything, it would be head manager of any specific location. Like if you were the Home Depot, it would be the head of that specific Home Depot store. That would kind of be like what my position is at where my location is. I'm the site commander, so I keep track of all my guys, their hours, scheduling, hiring, firing, disciplinary actions, everything. And so for me specifically, I've been, I've only been in this position maybe 9 months now, 8 or 9 months. And, I plan to stick here maybe another 4 to 5 years just to get the timing under the belt, and then look again and see what other places are hiring. We've got an Adobe building down the street, and I think that would be awesome to apply to work there. I don't know why, because they got a weight place on the inside, and they got super high, tight security there. So I don't know. Just a thought. But yeah.
You could start your own firm.
Actually, I never thought of that. That would be pretty awesome.
Because then now you would just work for you, and then you know what you need. You've done the job under. Now you're a site manager, so you know who to hire, who to place.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you just come up with a dope ass name, and then
there you go.
And this will sound bad, but whore yourself out to companies,
Right? Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
And I've seen I've seen some security companies, because I do looking every now and then, just kind of see some of them got some pretty awesome websites, you know, like
Yeah.
it makes you want to even like, you're like, hey, this website's dope. I want to join, like just because of
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
And then, you know, you depending on funding, you offer, you know, competitive rates. It's just something to think about, man, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. I'm open to so many different options. You know, I've had a couple businesses in the past, you know, and I'm open to so many options. To me, I just like you and I, we're go-getters. We you know, high pressure. That's our environment that we work well under. And for me, I think that's, you know, I don't ever have a limit. I keep going and you know, take the tide where it takes me. But then, you know, you keep going in whatever it is, and you know, that's me.
Right. Yeah, totally. Me too. And then before we wrap up, I saw someone here named Vanessa. She actually made a point here. She said, one aspect I see in a lot of vets is that we think we are obligated to our MOS for life. That is true. That is true. Look, I'll even put it, I'll highlight her comment right there. See, like, that is true. That is super true. Like, and especially for me, I'm by trade, I'm a field artillery. So when you think about it, there's no artillery pieces sitting on the side of the road or on I-5. Like, hey, let me go sit over here and provide artillery security for I-5. You know, we'll blow up the highway. No. So it's like that's really being lost then, because what the heck is the world going to do with an artillery guy? But when you change the mindset of taking the actual piece of it out on what you've learned, I learned organization. I've learned discipline. I've learned skills. And then because of doing other jobs during all 6 of my deployments, like there's interior design, there's plumbing, there's demolition, there's electrician, like there's all these other skills that I've learned. Yeah, and I don't have like your certificates, but like, and the same thing for infantry. Like, infantry, they gear towards police and all the things like that. But there's other skills as long as you highlight them correctly on your resume. You know,
exactly.
So it's like
And learning how to highlight them is a big
and being able to switch those words. Like with mine, I put my military title and then I put a semicolon and then I put the civilian equivalent of it.
Yes.
You know, so that way it's like, okay, so if they read, oh, he was platoon sergeant, the average civilian goes, what the hell's a platoon sergeant? You know, or like I was a gunnery sergeant, but I wasn't in the Marines. They're like, wait, so is he lying? Like, you know, like,
exactly. Yeah.
But in the artillery, a gunnery sergeant is the equivalent of platoon sergeant. They just have different responsibilities.
Interesting. Yeah.
So it's like I had to highlight the difference between the two, so that way civilians know.
Exactly.
So totally. Yeah. And that's when I had, you know, with your bio, I was like, that's the one place where you can be conceited as hell, you know, like you list everything because it's like a resume. You just write all the crap down, no matter what it is. Like, oh, I got a pat on the back for doing this. You write that shit on there too. Boom. You know,
exactly.
Because you want everyone to know who you are. So if people out there, you're writing like a bio or a resume, be cocky and conceited because it's your achievements. No one can take them away from you. You already did them.
Exactly.
So just put them all on paper, no matter how big or how small.
Yeah.
Because and you write it the right way, and you can actually make it look like a big deal. You know, it may not be a big deal in the military, but it could be a big deal to that guy looking at or girl looking at your resume.
Exactly. Yeah. Take a step back and look at it. Like see what you've done. Like during some of my time. While waiting to be medically discharged, I was put in charge of the armory. And, you know, you may not think that's really a big deal, but when you sit back and look at it, you know, that's millions of dollars worth of serialized gear, not just anything. Things you cannot lose, things you have to keep track of, things that are controlled environment of in and out, you know, and you've got to look at it from that way, from like a civilian perspective, you know, well, I did this and this, and the same things with like a squad leader, you know, you're not just a squad leader leading guys through combat. You're literally, you know, a manager. You're literally on each guy's level, understanding who they are as a person and learning how to deploy them as a person individually into the environment they're at. And that's almost like any other manager in any other business places. You've got to learn who's good at what, and you've got to get that job to that person. You know what I mean? And so there's so many other aspects. You just take a step back and you look at it from the bigger picture, and then all of a sudden you realize, like, oh wow, yeah, I did do a lot. You know, there is a lot to my resume.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, you know, when you even talked about the armor piece, like that's like working at like dealing with weapons. You know, that's like that's accountability. That's management. That's like, a whole bunch of different accountability type topics you could put there, because that's like, and then of course, how, at least I don't know how the Marines do, but in the Army, they always throw the dollar amount of what you're responsible for.
Oh yeah.
Like your evaluation. Like, I think when I was deployed, I think at one point I was responsible for $64 million worth of
right. Oh my gosh.
I'm like, holy shit. Like, what the hell? And I didn't
at the time you didn't realize it.
It's just like, okay, cool, whatever. But now it's like, that was trucks, that was radios, that was weapons, that was all this stuff. Not broken, mission capable 100% the entire tour. That's a big thing,
Accountability.
Everything. And when you reword it and position it, that's actually a huge deal. You don't have the school and other experience, but like, you have to learn that job you're going into, but you can at least take those core values and highlight those. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes.
So you just take the core, like, don't feel like, and there's a lot of thing I see too, is a lot of veterans feel entitled to a job. And that's false.
Just because they think they're a veteran.
Don't be entitled, because if you're entitled, you're not going to get it, because you don't know that job. You may have the skills to do the job, but you don't know that job because it's not the military.
No,
so
exactly.
Like you have to learn the stuff. Like the same thing, like there's manager jobs at Intel. I can lead the people, sure, but there's stuff in that job that I don't know. So it's like, I can't be like, hey, I am good for this job, but I don't know the other stuff that's there. So it's like, that's that sense of entitlement that veterans do got to lose. Like, I was a sergeant major. Okay, good for you. There's no sergeant major over here at freaking Rock.
Nope. No, exactly. And then when you step into that position, always remembering that you can learn and grow, and casting off that whole self of like, I know what I'm doing. I'm a corporal. I was squad leader. No, hell no. This job is completely different. We can take aspects from that job and use it now, but learning to step down and be like, okay, I will learn. I will, be respectful of others and take their advice.
Totally, because like the flip around of that is like, hey, guess what? You're not in the military anymore. You're fired.
Boom. You're fired. Exactly. Right? Yeah, they can't just sit there. They can get rid of you now. When before they couldn't.
You can't get fired really in the military. You can get in trouble, slap on the hand. You got to do some really bad shit to get kicked out. But like, really, you just know you're going to go work over there and get your shit together.
Exactly. Now it's like, you didn't do that? Nope. We'll write you up and you're fired. Yeah.
Well, as we bring this to a close here, I always like to do something. I call it the closing statement. Like a piece of motivation, inspiration for veterans people watching. If anybody, if they came in late and they're catching this tail end of the piece, which sometimes happens, what's that one piece of motivation or inspiration you got for veterans right now that you can tell them that it's like, hey, listen to what I'm saying right now?
Okay, so here's what I'd say. It's a hard transition getting out, specifically mentally. It's very hard on you. You don't feel like you belong. And what I would say is take that feeling that you had when you were in the military and apply that to being out. You can always go for whatever you want to do. You can always keep going, put yourself in a pressured environment so you can continue thriving. And it's okay to not, the first thing that you try, it's okay that it doesn't work out. You could keep trying, keep throwing shit against the wall until it finally sticks, and that's what I did the last 5 years. And it's okay if things don't work out. Don't let it get you down. Keep pushing hard, keep going forward, because never retreat, right? Or, in a combat zone, you never give up. You keep going. You don't have a choice. So keep going, keep pushing hard. And, one day you will find that thing that you are totally passionate about and continue going for, and will keep you motivated and put you on the right track. Just don't give up. That's the big thing.
Perfect. That's best way to close it off. Don't give up, and I like that saying, keep throwing it at the wall till it sticks. That's actually pretty good. I've never heard that before. That is badass. I like that.
Hey, one day the shit will stick, right?
So people just that's the takeaway from this. Keep throwing shit at the wall, and eventually something's gonna stick. And that's what you run with. So I appreciate you, man, for coming on.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Of course, man. I appreciate everybody for watching. Tune in next week because I got another special guest for you. I'll keep that one a surprise. I like to surprise. Sometimes I say the name, sometimes I don't. So always some value. I know John gave me a couple of people to reach out to that will potentially come on here who had some value in their some pretty good people also. So
yes.
Thank you for tuning in.
Awesome.
Stay tuned next week to the next podcast show, and I hope everybody has a great Thursday. See everybody
Awesome.
later.
See everybody.